So my name is Yerin. I'm part of the customer success team here at Intaker. I'm taking the stage again to introduce to you our brand new text us feature. So I'm going to start off right off the back on the mobile device screen. So can I just get confirmation that this is sharing correctly? Perfect. Okay, so you can see that I am sharing our demo site here. Because in this day and age, people are typically on their mobile devices daily. So chances are your potential leads are also reaching your site on their mobile device. So if you're already using something like Podium, then you already know just how valuable it is to have a text feature for your lead intake. But there's like a little pain point there because all of those text conversations have to be done manually. But here is what Intaker has to offer for your leads on their mobile experience. So on their mobile device, they can see the chatbot. So this is for people who maybe want that more low commitment option of a way to reach out to you. We also have the phone call button for people who, maybe they'd rather just call somebody and have a phone conversation instead. And then now, of course, we have this brand new SMS text button. So when I click on this here, it automatically opens up the messaging page. I could go ahead and submit my first inquiry here. And now immediately, just from that first initial message, we have already actually captured this lead. We already have their phone number. It's already going to be saved in your system. So even if this person doesn't really go through the rest of this text conversation, you already have their phone number. So you can go ahead and reach out to them if needed be. And now we introduced this text feature to provide a mobile-friendly communication option for your leads, aside from just having those phone calls. Especially in this generation, most people they prefer to text over having the phone calls, and this feature, it works seamlessly over text, as you can see here. So it asked me, it responded, it asked for my first and last name. I'm going to go ahead and give them, maybe I'm going to use someone else's name here. I'm going to give them a name. And now the response, you saw it, we got that around like 20 to 30 seconds. And now this text response here, it's actually being powered by our AI agent. So it's not a person who was behind this typing out this message. It's actually our brand new AI agent that's going to be handling all of your qualification conversations with your text leads on your behalf. So you get to go ahead and customize your very own agent, giving it its very own exact set of instructions on exactly what you need. And now this way you get to engage with all of your leads immediately with text in order to reduce any drop-offs and increase your conversion. So it asked me about my legal issue. I'm going to tell them I was in a car accident here, and then continue with this conversation with my text agent right here. And now you can see we're meeting clients where they are. So they're on their mobile device most of the time. So they can go ahead and immediately submit an inquiry through text. And now our AI agent, it's on standby at all hours, 24/7, all hours of the day. So, it's even if like a lead is texting you maybe at 2 a.m. in the morning, our agent, they're AI, so they're going to be available to assist them immediately. And so it's going to ensure that every single one of your inquiries are being addressed promptly and avoid any delays. So now you get to see, you saw the conversation has ended just now. You see they're saying sorry about your accident. Rest assured, someone is going to be reaching out soon. So you can see each of those responses, they took 20 to 30 seconds. They were quick, prompt answers that were provided in a very timely manner. So that's just going to allow you to build that trust with your leads and boost the reliability of your firm. So but now that this conversation has ended, on the lead side, they have been assured that someone is going to be reaching out to them. They know that their matter has been relayed to your intake team. So they're feeling confident there. And now on your end, your intake team, they have received the name and the phone number and the qualification conversation with this lead. And now you can then go ahead and follow up with this lead and hopefully get them to turn into real clients. So now I'm actually going to switch over to our dashboard here. So I'm going to stop sharing with this mobile device. And I'm going to switch over to my laptop so that I can show you how simple this implementation process is, since you just got to see what the SMS button looks like and how it actually looks for your leads and how they can experience it for themselves. So now switching over to our desktop here, I'm going to go ahead and share this screen. Can I get a confirmation? Perfect. Okay, so this is where you can go ahead and start the implementation process with this text us button as well as the AI agent. So as for the button itself, it's actually going to be in your bots. So go to your bots here. This is that welcome bot that we saw on that example site. If I go to appearances here, now this is where you can actually go ahead and turn on that text us button. So if I go to advanced and I go to contacts widget, and you can see we have that phone call button that we had, and now we have our new text us button. And if you notice here on the desktop preview side, there's actually no difference here, and that's because the SMS button is only going to show on the mobile version of your site. And this is because, clicking on this SMS button right here, it's going to automatically redirect them to their messaging app on their mobile phone, which is why this button is only on the mobile version. Now you can also go ahead and play around with the colors of the buttons here. So both the phone call button and the text button, you can go ahead and change their colors. So if your firm is using like a certain website theme, you can go ahead and play around with the colors of these buttons here to make sure that it's looking nice and pretty and unified on your website. And another thing is if you go to positions here, you can actually go ahead and tweak and change around and move around the positions of all of your different Intaker widgets. And so this is just to make sure that none of your widgets are being blocked by any cookie disclaimers or accessibility banners or anything else that might be on your mobile website that might be impeding the views of your widgets, just because on a mobile device you're working with a much smaller space. So you really want to make sure that all of your widgets are accessible and also just easy to see and view on your site in order to increase your intake engagement. So bot appearances, that's where your button actually is, and that's where you can go ahead and play around with the SMS button itself. But as for the AI agents, they're actually going to be living in this tab right here. So we have this new tab right underneath bots. It's called AI agents, and now this is where your AI agents come to life. So this is where you get to decide how you want your agent to sound, how persistent you want it to be, and exactly what kind of information you want it to receive. So there's like a lot of different use cases that I want to go over with your AI agent, as well as different customer journeys and what it can do to make your intake process easier. But real quick, before I get started with any of those instructions, I'm going to go ahead and go over some different settings you can play around with your agent. So for example, the first thing you can do, you can go ahead and even set the personality of your agent. So you get to decide how you want your agent to sound. Do you want it to be super friendly and casual? Then you can have it set to the welcoming tone. Or maybe you would rather have it be super strict and professional, then you can go ahead and keep it as very formal. Or you can have that like in between where it's professional, but it's still empathetic. And you can also go ahead and play around with the length response of the responses. So if you want it to be super brief and to the point, you can go ahead and keep it short and concise. And this is actually recommended just because you want to keep it just like that casual text conversation. You don't want it to be dragged out too long. But if you wanted to, you can have your agent be super thorough and detailed, and you can set it to be very explanatory instead. And then also, you can go ahead and fill out all of your company details here. So about your company, all of the different practice areas and services you guys offer, as well as different addresses. So maybe you guys have multiple locations. You can go ahead and add all of your different office locations here. Same with the contact phone numbers. If you guys have just one office number, you can put that here. If you guys have different numbers by department, you can also go ahead and add all of the numbers here. You can even go as far as adding specific attorneys' phone numbers in here as well. And now the reason we ask you to write out all this information is in case during the text conversation, if the lead happens to ask the agent a question like, hey, do you guys have a location over here? What's the address if I want to visit you in person? Then the agent has the correct and accurate information to provide for that lead. And same with the phone numbers. If during the conversation, if the lead happened to ask like, hey, do you guys have a number I can call you guys directly at? Then again, the agent has the correct and accurate information to provide for them. And now the last little setting here is going to be the follow-up strategy. So this is how soon the agent is going to follow up with the lead if the lead happens to ghost the conversation and they stop responding. So this is how soon it's going to respond to try to get that lead to re-engage with the conversation. So if you wanted to follow up as soon as possible, you're going to want to do after 30 minutes. If you wanted to, maybe give the lead a little more time, keep more delay, you can have it be after 2 hours. So all of these are up to you guys. You guys can go ahead and tailor this for your own needs. And now, so those are the different settings with the agent. But moving back to those qualifying questions and that instruction sequence, again, there's a ton of different use cases and customer journeys you can do here. So this is that agent that was responding to me earlier. It was super simple. All it needed was my legal issue short story, and then done. It ended the conversation. It told me someone's going to reach out. But you are not limited to this. You can go ahead and actually add a lot more instructions here. And you can even use your agent to pre-qualify all of your leads and auto-reject unqualified people. So similar to how our chatbot, it's used to pre-qualify your leads, you can kind of do that with the agent too by giving its own set of instructions, and you get to give all of the instructions that are specific to your firm. So for example, here, I'm gonna go ahead and instead of just ending the conversation after the short story, I'm gonna ask what state that they're located in. So I'm gonna say, ask what state they are located in. And then you can see that instruction, there's no coding involved. It's all super simple human language here. And I chose the state question because it's a pretty general one for, regardless of practice area, you're gonna want your lead to be located in the practice area or in the state that you practice in, which is why we're gonna ask the state question here. And now because the agent is AI, it's smart. So you can go ahead and give it very detailed instructions on exactly what you're looking for, as well as implementing some decision logic. And now this decision logic is going to be important for that auto rejection. So for example, here I'm asking what state they're located in. Now I'm going to go ahead and instruct the agent to go ahead and reject people who are not in California. So I'm going to say they are not in California, then reject their case and end conversation. So you can see you can go ahead and instruct your agent on rejecting people who are unqualified. That way, your intake team, they don't have to waste their time or their resources, interacting with unqualified leads. They can just go ahead and focus on the qualified people instead. And now, by instructing your agent exactly what to look out for to auto-reject leads, who you can, really handle cases for anyway, this is going to then allow you to also instruct the agent to, go ahead and maybe book a consultation or, reassure leads who are actually qualified. And now again, here we just have this state auto reject question just as like a more general auto rejection. But again, there's no limits on what you can instruct your agents to do. So you can go ahead and add many, many more instructions in here. So for example, another example, you can go ahead and have your agent auto reject by practice area. So you can add an instruction for the agent to maybe watch out for certain keywords and go ahead and auto reject people who are coming for unrelated case types. So just like as a quick example here, if you're doing family law, you can go ahead and instruct the agent to auto-reject if they hear some words like personal injury, or if they hear anything about bankruptcy or DUI, you can go ahead and tell the agent to go ahead and reject those people. Or if they're coming for anything unrelated to a family law issue, you can go ahead and tell them to auto-reject them. Or, maybe you're a bigger firm, you handle all of these different practice areas and you have multiple different services, then you can actually, again, you can go ahead and implement decision logic for the AI, and you can make sure that it's asking the correct qualification questions depending on the case type. So again, you can go ahead and give that instruction of, if they are coming for estate planning, then ask them this set of questions. Or if they're coming for criminal law, then ask them this set of questions. So you can go ahead and do auto rejection by practice area. You can also go ahead and branch out into more instructions based on practice area. And you can also go ahead and auto-reject by specific qualification requirements as well. So again, just some quick examples here. Let's say you're doing personal injury. You can go ahead and instruct the agent to go ahead and ask the date of the accident. And then you can also go ahead and instruct it so that if the accident happened to happen more than 2 years ago, go ahead and reject their case. So you can go ahead and add those qualification requirements, and that way the agent is rejecting people who aren't qualified in your standards. Another quick example, maybe you're doing employment law, someone came in for employment termination, you can go ahead and tell your agent, hey, ask them the date of their termination. And then again, making sure that they're checking to make sure the termination was within a certain time period. If not, they can go ahead and get auto-rejected. So once you have those instructions all set out, so those were just a couple examples, but again, you are not limited to what you can instruct this agent to do. But once you have those instructions set up and you're making sure to auto reject and weed out all of the unqualified leads, again, you can then go ahead and offer either maybe a consultation link or some type of reassurance to the leads who actually made it through the end. They weren't auto rejected. They are actually qualified people. So for example, you can go ahead and instruct the agent exactly how you want to end this text conversation for qualified leads. So for example here, like, I'm gonna say end conversation by, and now this is kind of up to you guys. Like maybe if you're a firm and you prefer to just kind of have a handoff like immediately from the agent, like you just want the text conversation to end and you want the agent to immediately hand it over to you and you want to take care of it. Then you can go ahead and just simply instruct the agent to let the lead know that someone from their team is going to be reaching out. So I can just go ahead and say end conversation by telling them someone will be reaching out shortly. Now then on your end, you get to see the completed text conversation. You get to see their name, you get to see their phone number, and then you can then go ahead and reach out to the lead yourself. But maybe your firm, you want to give like that qualified lead a different option of a way to reach out to you. Maybe you want to encourage them to actually call your office. In that case, you can go ahead and you can even give your agent a phone number for those qualified leads to call you. So you can say, I'm going to do the whole shebang here. I'm going to ask them, tell them someone's going to reach out, or they can call the office at, and then you can go ahead and give them your office number here. And now let's take it a step further, maybe even more than just encouraging them to give you guys a call. Maybe you wanted them to immediately book a consultation with you. So you want your qualified leads to be able to book a consultation with you immediately. Then you can even give your agent a booking link to go ahead and provide for those qualified leads. So for example, if you're using like Calendly or Acuity or any other booking calendar softwares, you can go ahead and give that link to that agent to provide so that those qualified leads, they can go ahead and click on that link on their mobile device and immediately book a consultation. So I'm gonna do the whole shebang. I'm even gonna give my agent a booking consultation link. So I'm gonna say they can call the office, or they can book a consultation at, and then I'm going to go ahead and give them this Calendly link. This is our Calendly link for support calendars. I'm going to go ahead and give them that instruction here. And now if you do this with the consultation link, you would have essentially turned your website text inquiry into an actual booked consultation all through your AI agent with no manual involvement from your end. Your AI agent has handled all of that for you. So I'm going to go ahead and add this instruction here. And now once you've added all of your necessary instructions and all of the different qualification requirements that you need from your leads, you can go ahead and now I'm going to go ahead and save my instructions here. And now before you even decide to go live with this agent and actually put this on your website, you can actually go ahead and test your agent directly in the dashboard here. So for example, I'm going to go in here, I'm going to start interacting with the agent, and this is going to mimic exactly what your leads are going to be experiencing on their mobile device when they're clicking on that button and texting. So I'm going to tell them I was in an accident. And you can see the response from the agents. This is exactly how it's going to respond in the text platform. And you can see it's going down the list of instructions here. And now, because this is the testing environment, you can go ahead and test around, making sure that all of that pre-qualification logic that we put in is working correctly. And then you can also go ahead and try to challenge your agent. You can go ahead and give it challenging answers and pretend to be like a lead who's trying to sidetrack the conversation. So like, for example, here, I'm going to pretend to be a difficult lead. I'm going to go ahead and sidetrack this conversation. I'm going to say, why do you need to know that anyway? So here, you can go ahead and try to challenge your AI agent and see, how is it going to adapt when it's receiving difficult responses like this? So you can see it's given them that brief and concise explanation. It's letting them know, hey, like the state is important. Laws vary from state to state. So can you please let me know the state you're located in? So you can see the agent adapted very well. It's trying to still push to receive that information. And then now here, you can also go ahead and test the pre-qualification logic, making sure that that instruction is working correctly. So I'm going to pretend to be an unqualified lead here. I'm not coming from California. I'll say I am in New York. I'm telling them I'm in New York. We're gonna go ahead and see if it auto rejects me as I instructed it to, and you can see immediately it said, I'm sorry, we're only able to handle cases in California. We recommend seeking counsel in your state, and it ended the conversation there. So you could see that instruction worked exactly the way I instructed it to. Now I can go ahead and restart this test, and you can go ahead and test it as many times as you need. You can test it over and over again just to make sure that everything is working well and all the responses are, the way you want it to be. So now I'm gonna restart this test. This time I'm gonna go in as a qualified lead. And that way I can go ahead and test to see that it's ending the conversation for qualified leads exactly how I instructed it to. So this time I'm gonna tell them, yes, I am in California. Now, because I am a qualified person, it should be ending the conversation how I instructed it to for qualified leads. And now you can see it did exactly what I asked it to do. It did the whole shebang. It told them someone's going to reach out. They can also call the office at this number, or they can also go ahead and book a consultation with this link. And now on the mobile device, that link is actually going to be clickable. So they can just directly from their messaging app, click on that link, and they're going to be redirected to their browsing page. And so, once you've tested this agent out as many times as you need, because again, you can go ahead and restart this again. It's going to start it back from scratch. You can go ahead and give it more challenging answers, add more instructions. And once you're sure and fully confident in your agent and all of its responses, you can then go ahead and publish this button on your site and actually have the AI agent go live. And now again, just to give you guys another refresher, so the AI agents, they're in this tab here. This is where you can go ahead and play around with your agent, edit any instructions, tweak with the settings. But as for the text button itself, it's going to be in the bots, and it's going to be in the bot appearances here. And then now when we go back to the, once it loads here, we're going to wait for it to load. Now once we're back into the contacts widget, just making sure that the AI agent has been linked to the widget. So this is indicating to you that that AI agent we just created in this tab right here, it has been linked to this button. And so anyone who's interacting with this text button is going to be handled by that AI agent. And now the last step for you would just to hit publish now, and then your button will actually be live on your site. Now I've gone over the agent, I've showed you all of its different capabilities, all the different use cases, and also the testing environment where you get to go ahead and test and, make sure that you're actually really confident in your agent. But there's actually an additional capability that you have with this texting feature, which is going to be our manual takeover. So all of your text leads, just like your chatbot leads, they're all going to be coming into your leads dashboard here. So you can see we have our existing chatbot leads from here, but we also have our texting leads now. So the one for Sophie that I just created as a demo earlier is being in there. Now, if I go into a text conversation, so this is a text conversation, it's still happening with the agent. You can actually go ahead and manually take over this conversation, and you can go ahead and stop the agent's responses, and you can then go ahead and manually take over the conversation yourself. So they were talking to Ruhi here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stop the agent from responding. I'm gonna go ahead and respond as myself. I'm gonna manually text, can we still help you? Now this way you have the option to manually take over the conversation if needed. So you can go ahead and monitor that conversation, because just like our chatbot leads, you're going to be receiving email notifications for these new text leads. So if you wanted to, you can go ahead and monitor that conversation, and you can go ahead and actually stop the AI agent and manually take over the conversation again if necessary. But if you're fully confident in your AI agent, you like the instructions you've given it, then you can just let the agent handle everything from start to finish. But again, if needed be, and if really necessary, you do have this option to go ahead and manually take over that conversation. I'm sure you're all super excited to start using this for your firm. I hope you guys are, at least for this new feature. And so I wanted to go over what you actually need to get started with this text agent. So the first thing you're actually going to need is to make sure and double check that you are A2P compliant. So A2P, just a quick reminder, it's a new requirement by major cell carriers in order for your businesses to be able to text your clients. So if you're not A2P compliant, you can go ahead and fill out that application form somewhere here. There's going to be a QR code somewhere there, and that way you can go ahead and fill out that A2P form, and then we're going to handle the registration process for you, and then that way we can make sure that you can utilize all of our different texting capabilities. Now, if you're already sending text through Intaker and again, you already know you're A2P approved, then no need to worry about this form. This is only for people who are not A2P compliant. And then the next step is if my presentation here, it was enough for you to know how all this implementation works, then you can actually go ahead and set this up anytime right now in your dashboard. You have access to it here. You just log into your Intaker dashboard. You can go ahead and set it up, play around with your agent immediately. Again, make sure you're A2P approved first. But if you are A2P approved, this presentation was more than enough for you to get started, you can go ahead and start playing with it immediately. But if you want like a more in-depth walkthrough of this feature, and maybe you need like another refresher and you want like a one-on-one walkthrough of this feature, you can go ahead and schedule a feature spotlight meeting with your customer success specialist, and then they'll be happy to answer any questions you might have about the feature and showcase the feature for you again, and also handle just any integration requirements. So that about wraps up my portion of this presentation. So I hope to see a lot of booked meetings in the future for this Texas feature. Thank you.